just a quick first look here as we are going to start tearing into her now. Again, we think that she has a broken shifter cable either at the shifter inside the car or maybe somewhere, because the tranny seems intact. So just kind of walk around here before we start to tinker. That's our hope. If that is it, we'll either see if we can fix whatever's broke or get a new shifter cable and start at it. As you can see, she's got a lot of damage, but we plan to beat around both back wheels, kind of beat the sides in a little bit more, try to make it harder and kind of stick out as far from the rear axle as possible if we're able to run it again. 2 new tires, as the front 2 got cut down. First time that's ever happened to me in all my derbying. And then same thing, beat around the fender here, and then we'll start tinkering inside the motor. So that's the plan. Hopefully we're able to get another run out of this old girl. Well, just a quick update. Hudson helped me look, and good news, the shifter cable, get it to focus there, is not broken there at all. In fact, it works and functions exactly like it should. Oh, sorry, got out of focus. Bad news, it is not broken there. So I came up here and I had Hudson shift it, and the cable was moving a little, but it wasn't moving at the shifter. So I grabbed my crowbar and I just kind of gently made it move, and the transmission is clicking in and out of gears as well as through park like it should. So then I started following the cable back, and I hope / think I found the problem. So there, if I get to focus, the shifter cable fell because it was not like this. Again, I put the, this one didn't have the cadillac converter right out of the motor. I had mine though from my other one, so I put it on there. So I just feel like it helps the motor not have to run so kind of rough, if you will. And the shifter cable was not on it. Well, the shifter cable must have, during the derby, there must be a mount underneath. I'd have to get under to look, but it must have broke, and it fell and rested on the muffler, the cadillac converter there. So it melted through the rubber. Now the cable doesn't seem broken or anything, but I think what happened, I don't know if this makes sense, but it's like excessive there, like almost like it got hot, and I don't know if it's not broke, I know that, but something happened in there to where as he was shifting forward and back, it was slightly moving the cable, but it's now like out of place there. So either there's something I need to fix with the mounting of it, I'll have to crawl underneath it here, or I hopefully just need a new shifter cable, and she's ready to go. Because as I told my son, the shifter, it is a little stiff, but it's always been like that ever since I got the car, but it's shifting in and out of gears, and it started up in neutral like it did before. So that's our process. We're gonna get her off the trailer and take a better look at that shifter cable. So we took dead wheel 1 off, and then there is our one we took off the back before we derbied. We're gonna put on, just kind of beat in the fender here up and under as much as I can. Again, it's not really doing much, but just make sure it's tucked in out of the way. Again, everything looks good in here. Those good tough steel spindles, tie rod straight, control arm's good. Again, that we'll just pull with a ratchet strap from the corner to corner like we did underneath last year. So looks good here. Here we are outside, a little bit of progress on the car. We are gonna hold off on the cable. I'm pretty sure that's it. Again, I've been shifting and driving the cable, so I'm going to wait until closer to the time I'm gonna run this, because I'm almost a month away from when I'm gonna run it. So just getting everything else done. I had a little bit of time today after I got my son's car all done. Got this fender beat up and around, got that old junk tire off, or the one I had on here rather, and got this one on, so we're good there, and just kind of cleared space there. Started beating around the back, and again, this is where if I had a torch, oh, it would be so nice. I kind of torch cut that bottom off and then kind of beat it in tight, but I'm trying to do it the old-fashioned way with just the sledge. Just wanted to show too, I mentioned how in the Derby Aftermath video, how this one wasn't buckling in the back quite like mine was. You can see how it's lifting a little and starting to press down the tank right in here. But as I look closer, you can see on both sides, it's actually almost breaking or flexing inside of the gas tank on the bottom of the floor. So I wasn't sure if I was gonna leave this one stock tank again, because I was hoping to use up more of the back, but I think I might, because I can only use this one here. You can see right inside the door, similar to that one over there. that's where it's kind of bellying down. Again, it was a hard-hitting derby, so I'm gonna take this wheel off, do the same thing, kind of beat in as much as I can, beat in the doors as well, and then we're gonna pull her in the garage until we're ready to tear at that cable. So if you're someone that's never done this or not familiar with it, so to unhook the shifter cable inside, it's pretty simple. There's one bolt underneath coming up through 10 millimeter, and then these three here that are underneath that center console to get it, there's a little plate there to get it loose from. And then there's just 4 bolts here, pretty simple. I think they were 14 millimeter. And then to pop the plastic off, it's just the kind of funny star screws. But I wanted to show, here's the piece I thought I broke. So it's just plastic that is, get this out of the way, attached to the shifter there, you can see. So I'm gonna undo that and then just pop that out. This is kind of the release that the key has to be on here. I'll just leave that on there. So we're gonna pop that out and then I'll pull it all the way through. But yeah, if you've never seen underneath the guts of these guys, that's it. Pretty simple, a lot of plastic. And that's what I thought I broke, but it's the cable we gotta switch. So here we go. We got the old cable that was damaged there, again melting on top of the cadillac converter, unfortunately. Got her off, and then this guy here found on Walmart.com for $33, and it is the right one. So we are gonna pop that one out, pop this one in, and then we'll slide her up under and in. The cadillac converter I took off, actually sold it, so that shouldn't be an issue this time. Bolt her back in. And same thing in here, bolt her inside to the shifter. Here goes nothing. And here we go, got her back inside the derby stall. So we have our battery lines hooked up and good. Just gotta electrical tape them really good, and then I'll secure them with zip ties, as well as probably a little spray foam again. The shifter cable is indeed on. I'll probably put a zip tie over top of the cable in the shifter. It's a little tough to see, but that is the new one. She did indeed work. Only hiccup, and I don't know if it's the cable or the tranny, because I went back and forth loosening the screw and adjusting it, but it doesn't go all the way forward to park, but it seems more like that's a cable thing here, like from where it's stretching to where it's mounted there, all the way up to where it actually grabs the shifting arm here, because this is fully extended. So like I can't bring it forward anymore. So again, this is a cheap aftermarket. It was 33 bucks online, the shifting cable, but it'll work. I can start it neutral and I can just park it in reverse. The key goes on and off because the shifter is all the way up in its kind of locked position. So you can turn the key on and off, just gotta start it neutral. So not a big deal. We got to get the battery box back in. Battery lines, I mentioned, electrical tape, get our chain back on. I took those off as helped a youth driver in the area, goes to my son's school, get into a derby pit recently, and they needed different parts like that. So that's it. And then up front, the only other thing we're gonna do is the back end is just used up. I mean, looking at it again, it just doesn't have really much life left, and I'm not even gonna drop the stock tank because she's gonna be nose forward because she's fresh up here. So I'm gonna cut through with my saw both of those pieces so we can get that line, that electrical line in, and then preferably back kind of secured behind the motor so it's well out of the way. So she is dead up here and we can go nose forward for as long as we can. So that's the plan. Final prep we're gonna get to now, and then we'll get her on the trailer. So here we have one more look and a change of our mind, referring to, I originally thought I would not drop the tank. Well, I am gonna drop the tank. Just looking at the way the body's not only buckling, but how much it's already putting a little bit of pressure on the front here, because right here is where the tank is. And I only have one ratchet strap on and it's pretty rusty. And I wasn't even sure if it'd make it through the initial run. So I'm like, no, it's maybe an hour or so here, a little over an hour. And I got the time, 2 hours at most if I run into some trouble. But we're gonna drop the tank. Again, I like to put the jack under it so that it kind of catches it and you can slowly lower it down once you get the 2 bolts on that one strap as the other one's off. And again, just got the car up on the rails here, or the racks, and we'll be able to do that. And then the gas line, just to show, so the rail is right here underneath the top of the motor here, and I would love to go just like I did with the Cobalt. It's kind of hard to see, but it goes right in there, and then there's the rail right to it, but I'd have to take the top off, and that's just more work and I don't want to get into it. And this line, I actually have my coolant temp sense here secured to it. I'm going to cut it about right here, and it's kind of that like hard plastic. I don't know exactly what it is. It's not like a metal underneath the cars where it goes into metal, I assume for like durability and, you know, just taking chips, dirt, stones, snow, etc. to make it more stable. But I should be able to run my fuel line. I cut just a small line there, and it's a little sharp right now. I'm going to beat it with a hammer so it's kind of down, and then I'll spray foam in there. But I'm going to run my fuel line through there and attach onto it there, and then just up over the dash, and we'll just have to bolt her in here. It'll be a little tight like it was last time with my tank and my battery box on last year's Cruiser, but it'll be inside the seat there, well inside all the carnage in the back. And the back end don't have a lot left. As I said, she's buckling, but that should suffice. So that's it. Final prep, and then hopefully ready to get it in the trailer and take one final look. So here we have it, our final build. She is complete. She is battered and bruised, but we think she's ready for another good run. So just kind of walk around and take a look at her. Again, the front is clean, referring to she's fresh. Just a couple small hits on the bumper. Hasn't started to kind of distort it or even bend or crimp the frame rails. And these PT Cruiser frame rails aren't really super tough. You can see how I was able to cut. I just unbolted and then pulled that up. So it was just the one thin layer of kind of sheet metal in the front. Careful I didn't cut any wires. Cut through with the Sawzall and then slid the lines carefully through, not cutting them. And I thought maybe I could get on top of the motor, but I already had it spray foamed. I'll show here in a moment. And it's just easier to kind of duck them around, which even if I'm folding up here, that shouldn't be an issue. Again, the line's looped, tranny line's still looped. We'll look at all that in a moment, but you can see beat up around the fenders again. And the back end is pretty used up. Again, it was a good first run. Venango County Fair, ended up running into mid-size. Could have ran it in the 4s, but ran it in the mid-size. Got down to the top 3, and I melted the shifting cable over the catalytic converter I put on. Something happened that it came loose and started resting on it, and it just melted it. So I lost the shifter. Bought a new shifter cable online, 33 bucks as I mentioned, and it works perfect. So we took that converter off. She's a little bit more raspy now, a little bit more smoke coming out as the converter's not catching any of that stuff, and a little bit more of a richness to it, I guess you'd say. Again, the big thing with this old girl and why I ultimately dropped the tank, and it absolutely was starting to pinch that tank load. Actually, once I dropped the strap, it was still stuck. The tank was in there. I had to get a crowbar up above it and kind of pull down a little bit across the sides to get it to drop. But it was starting to pinch the tank. Again, she took some hard hits from, in particular, Zimmerman. His Camry's nose, she was hard. And you can see how, again, the whole rear end shifted. Hit me so hard here. He kind of turned this axle in. You can see how it's my wheel's bent, but it's actually turned in, or my spare tire there, the rim's bent. And you can see how she's starting to collapse in, but still a good amount of clearance. Be able to hit a little bit with the back. I mean, no cross track shots or huge runs against it, or I might end up buckling and dragging. But again, the nose is clean, so as clean as she can be. Again, beat up over this fender. A little bit of a lean to this wheel. Got a little bit of a press into it, but I get just a slight bend where the strut mounts to the spindle. And then in here, again, a little bit of a unique setup. So I have my derby tank. I have it at an angle because with this bar here, probably next time I should just cut it to make it easier so I can put the tank right here and then have the battery box there. But I want to do it quickly, and worked out that I had an existing hole there already, and I had an existing hole up there. So I just bolted it in kind of a little crooked, and then I had a hole there, and I just made one more at the top corner for the battery box, so she's good. So it's a little bit unique as it's angled, but again, they're both good. Direct wired. Again, this derby tank, I have it direct wired, so I have both the positive and negative from the fuel cell gone to those. So as soon as I hit the terminals, she's got power and is pumping. Again, you could do a toggle switch, but a number of guys have told me, and I ultimately agree, that that's just something else that could go wrong or could short out. Guys have said that's happened. So when she's on, she's pumping fuel. Get the key turned on. And just to show, you can see from this end, I have the fuel line. Again, last year I took it from underneath, and that just creates a headache, not only getting under it, cutting it, not cutting your brake lines, which are right beside it, but then whenever you're done getting under it and all that. So I ran it up, drilled a hole there. Probably next time I'll cut down and just like completely V it off. But this time I just kind of drilled 4 little holes and spray foamed around it. And underneath here, get it set up. It's my makeshift. Lost the original one, so I got the one there. It was on the radiator as my little hood holder. But you can see here, fuel line coming in there. Again, I tried to beat back as much as I could so it wasn't sharp at all, and then spray foamed around it. So that should only be good and stable, but nothing there should even come close to cutting it. Here's the fuel line, again, running down to the fuel rail, which is right there. Could have taken the top here, the motor off to get to it, but this line I just cut, and it's like that hard plastic. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's metal underneath the car, but I was able to get good and tight on there. Had my son fired up and run it, no issue. And I have the return line for my tank, as well as kind of the overflow with air, which is how I fill it. I just use an existing hole there and widen it more, and then again spray foam there, so if there's any sort of runoff or anything, it'll just drip a little onto the track, and mud shouldn't be an issue. Otherwise, again, shifter cable we got fixed. Just left all the plastic off as I had to get to that. Already had the wiring pulled up, so no need to do anything else there. You can see again, she's doesn't have a lot left in the back end, buckling a little bit, but I think she's got a good run in her. Don't know how long that'll be, but I think she's got some good hits. Here's a great view. If I stand directly behind the car, you can see how it's buckled to the left, and it drives fairly straight forward and backwards. It's a little tricky. It's got a little bit of a side shuffle to it, but in the pit, short bursts to contact, I think we'll be good. Still a lot of fun left, and we'll see how long we can last before hopefully a good final run. Again, line looped, worked great last time. I put another 1.5 cups in there. I'll top it off with water, of a fabric softener that is, I put in there 1.5 cups, and I'll top it off with water. Again, tranny lines looped. Just spray foam the lines so they're secured, and hopefully hitting hard with the nose, she'll certainly bend up, excuse me. The frame rails aren't super tough or big on the Cruiser, but if she does, last time mine was up here, and again, you can see there's nothing there. So feel pretty good about my welds. Got a pretty good weld top and bottom. Thought about doing a 3x3 plate, but just time and how I already had that existing there, I decided not to, and I still think we'll be good. Again, there you can see the shifter cable. As I mentioned, it doesn't quite reach from there to the shifter all the way into park, but not a big deal. I can still disengage the key, turn it off fully, and start it neutral. Again, coolant temps out just like before. Right in there is the thermostat, which we gutted. So she's just cycling, which has worked great with the Cruiser. So that's her. Again, we're hoping for some fun, taking it tomorrow to the Waterford Community Fair. It's a good little fair, free entry into the fair, and even the Derby. It's not a huge track, but it's a good little track, especially if there's, 8 to 10 or less cars, which probably typical. It's not a huge fair, although sometimes they've had a really good Derby count. They have 4 features running tomorrow. 4 cylinders are split as of now, which this one I'll definitely run in the 4s this time. So hoping for some fun. So 2002 PT Cruiser, we got her back. Shifter cable fixed, dropped the Derby tank, beat up as much as we could the body to make her tough, spares in the back. Let's go have some fun.